Hi, welcome to the Coffee Chat Show here on Buzzin Pattaya, the show where we talk about things that are happening right here, right now, as well as general news, tips, information and advice. Now have I got the guest, the Aladdin's Cave of Pattaya with me today, John Collingbourne Auctions. How you doing, my man?
I'm all right, Trevor.
He's giggling away there, but honestly, you want to see what's in this place. It's incredible. It's like an Aladdin's Cave. It's mental. I mean, John, where are you from originally?
I'm from a little village called Nash.
Nash?
Which is on the side of the River Severn by a place called Newport in Monmouthshire.
Oh, okay.
And my father was a farmer, and I was brought up on the farm, and basically that was it. Left school at 14 and a half.
Wow. So
no education whatsoever.
So you were brought up on a farm?
Yes.
So you swapped tractors for the sunshine?
Well, what happened, that's many, many years later.
Yeah.
What happened is that my father was a businessman as well as a farmer, and he took a directorship of an SO distributorship.
Wow.
in Monmouthshire, and Habitat Company Oils Limited, and they put me to work in there sweeping up the yard when I was a kid. 16.
We've all done a bit of sweeping, haven't we?
Sweep up, boy.
Can you imagine in the 21st century saying to a kid now, go out there and sweep up?
You wouldn't do it, would they?
I'm not doing that. It's cold outside.
That's right.
Oh, so
That's
21. So you were sweeping away.
Sweeping up the yard, and then I got that the drivers would let me drive the lorries. Right in the yard, and then I was, not qualified at all. Then they taught me how to do the dips. Then I went lorry driving when I was old enough.
Wow.
They got me a lorry under 3 ton to drive at 17.
Wow.
So a little 1,200 gallon Austin 1947 tanker. So I was away. The old man put a governor on it. It was too fast. It was petrol engine, still like a bloody racing car. So they put a governor on it. Anyway, soon outgrew that, and I went out as a rep. And then after that, I couldn't agree with the management. My father had finished with the company by that time. Yeah. And I started my own company. And I had an oil company for 40 years.
40 years?
Yeah, Collingbourne Fuels Limited.
Wow.
And the trucks are in there.
Oh, and that's the pictures of the trucks in your office there. Wow. Yeah. So did you drive one similar to those there? Did you?
I drove them all.
Were you a good driver, or were you a bit wobbly?
I was an excellent driver. never had a bump.
Did you not?
No.
Well, did that put you in good stead for when you come to drive out here?
Oh, well, I came out here, I was fully experienced.
So you grew up on a farm. You then,
I went into the oil trade then, but then there was a time about 8-10 years when there was no money in the fuel at all. Okay. And I got out, stopped. And I only went back in again in the 1980s, about 84. I went back in, still had the company, went back in and bought some Leyland freighters and started again. Again, it went downhill because the big oil companies wanted to distribute themselves, Texaco Direct, Shell Direct, and they didn't want the distributors, therefore they put the prices up. So I rang Texaco, I said to the boss, I said, listen, John, I said, I want to sell it. I'll be there tomorrow, he said. He bought it. Wow. Bought Collingbourne Fuels. And on the following Monday, my trucks were owned by Texaco, and my drivers worked for Texaco. My phone lines were off. Everything was gone. Literally? So, quick. And during that time, of course, I was doing other things, which we had a big yard when I started, and it was about 4 acres. And we didn't know what to do with it. So I had the oil tankers in one corner. I set up an MOT station for MOT cars in another corner. And I didn't know what to do with the rest of it. So my old landlady came down from London. She came down every quarter, a real character. She used to own a transport fleet of her own. Oh, I had transport as well, flat lorries, So anyway, she came down and said, John, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? She said, you're paying all this rent. She said, what are you going to do? I said, well, the best thing, Mrs. Butcher, I said, I've been looking at concrete, mini mix. She said, because we were on the riverbank as well. Okay. So she said, or, I said, a car auction. Car auction, that's the answer, she said. And that's exactly what I bloody did.
Did you?
We opened a car auction, yeah.
And when you opened that car auction, did you ever in your wildest imagination think that you'd be here doing auctions?
It just went AWOC.
Did it?
Nearly 40 years of that. And my son took it over when I came here. He sold it 3 years ago to a very big company, Wilson's, in England.
Yeah.
They're pretty big. He sold it to them and they run it to this day. It's what I started in a marquee in a tent.
Wow.
We couldn't afford to put a shed up, so we put a marquee up. We hired him for 12 months. He used to blow away after telling me to go pick it up, find it across the road, you know. Oops, it's that side of the... Put it back.
Can you remember the first car you ever sold in your auction? What was it?
It was an Austin A40 Caravan.
Why?
It was an A40, one used to bounce on the front. You remember them?
I don't know.
No, you wouldn't, Paddy, remember?
I'm only a nipper.
And it was made into a caravan, little windows and everything in it. Sold that, it's about 50 quid, I think.
50 quid?
Yeah. Funnily enough, the guy I sold it for resides in Thailand as well now.
No,
Yes, he's
that's
in Banks
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, in your car auction days, I mean, what was the best car you ever saw? You think, oh man, look at this car.
When I got married for the second time, I tell you 3 times, like we all have, that's right. Yeah. So I got married the second time and the customer at the auction had 2 lovely Rolls-Royce wedding cars. They were about 1926, open ones, beautiful cars. So I went to the wedding in it, lovely, and then about 3 or 4 years after, he brought it in the auction to sell it. And that's one car that I wish I had the money to have bought it,
right,
or the sense to have bought it.
Yeah.
We had the money at that time to have bought it and just kept it.
Wow.
And we sold it, and do you know what? The guy that bought it is in Cwmbran. He's never been out of the garage since he bought it. He comes over here on holiday. I said, "Where's that Rolls? Where's that Rolls?" So, still in the shed, John, where you left it, because he couldn't drive it. So Amazing. He got me to drive it home for him.
Amazing, yeah. Brilliant.
Still a loving shed.
So, obviously, you know, you've had an incredible and very varied time back in Wales. I mean, when was the first time you came over here to Pattaya, and what made you come here?
I went in the hotel trade. There were 3 hotels during the time that I had antique shops. I had antique oil business, auction, antique shops, and I had a hotel.
Okay.
Right? And I loved the hotel business. And it was in Abergavenny. That was the first hotel. The second hotel was the Rat Trap in Usk, a place called Usk. I had that for a couple of years, and I was working too hard. And no wife had gone, and I was doing it myself, everything myself, with the help of some staff and my sister. So anyway, one of my resident guests, he said, "John," he said, "I'm going to Thailand," he said, on a holiday. I said, "Oh, I got a friend over there. I'll give him a ring." So I rang Graham Hayward, a friend of mine. I said, "Hey, Graham, we're coming over." "Oh, that's all right. See you in it." Welsh. You know? "Oh, that's all right. Then when you come in, see, I'll pick you up at the airport." Right. Picked us up at the airport. Came back. Guess where he took me, Trevor?
Go on.
Soy bloody 6.
No.
Down Soy 6 we went. I'm there with a Jaeger jacket, silk handkerchief, tie, you know. Like, and I sort of
you dressed up to the nines then?
Sweating like a pig. I got off the airplane, I'm there, I'm in Soy 6, what the hell? So anyway, I said, "You better take me home, right? Take me back to the hotel." We're in the Sabai Lodge. We booked in the Sabai Lodge. Said, "You better take me home." I said, "Because I don't like this." I said, "This is beyond me, like. These girls, no clothes on. No clothes on, right?" So anyway, he takes me back, and going back, I said, "Surely to goodness," I said, "you know somebody over here, a nice single girl," I said, "without any baggage, that I can go out with. Just have some fun, you know." "Oh," he said, "I know one girl," he said, "see." So turns around, no, U-turn, goes back. I'm still there with me bloody jacket and me bottle rest of it. So we go down the Sai Wonga mat. Where's this girl? Where's Linda? Right. In the hairdresser's, 9 o'clock at night now, right? So anyway, she comes, and fair play. That girl, she took me everywhere. I went to the Bang Saray Club when it was open, where David was there. Right. Went all around the place in her little truck, and then she dropped me back at the Sabai Lodge. No fun and games. Dropped me off, and I came home. and then 1 week I was there. So I went back, couldn't rest. I thought, Christ, I like it over there, right? So I flogged the hotel immediately. I had a guy wanting it, a chap called Paul. He wanted it. And I said, right, Paul, it's your lucky day. You're going to buy the rat trap. He bought it, right? Bought all the antiques, full of antiques. Bought all the antiques. Within a month, I'm back in Thailand. I'm back in Thailand. And that's it. It just goes. So I didn't go home for 3 years after that. And then I bought another hotel in Rayong. So I was in Rayong for 10 years. 10 years. With a hotel on the side of the Doc Rai Reservoir.
Because you've been here 21 years ago.
Yeah, nearly 21 years.
21 years.
Yeah.
So 21 years ago, you walked down Soy 6 and thought, there I am with me silk scarf. And I mean, do you look back and think, what was I doing?
Yeah, well, you wouldn't know. That's how I used to dress in Wales.
Yeah.
Right? I was always Dickie Bow-tie in Wales, right? Looking a bit tidy, see you?
So how long did it take you to ditch all that and put your shorts and flip-flops on?
10 minutes, I think.
I mean, back then, I mean, what was it like back then? You know, 21 years ago.
Let's go back to Sai Wangamat. That wasn't tarmac.
Okay.
That was an earth road.
Right.
Right, and you could walk right round the beach at Sai Wangamat, and it was all just an earthen road.
Wow.
The circuit itself was one hell of a mess. There were like 2 lanes in the middle, back and forth, and then it was all mud on the sides. It's changed. Third Road wasn't there.
Wow.
There's the odd building. It wasn't there. It's just changed beyond all recognition.
Do you think it's changed for the better?
It's changed. Has it? I don't know. There's more people you see now. We're in God's pocket now. There's nobody here. It's good. But the thing is, that's no money either.
Well, yeah. It's nice to have some peace and quiet, not getting hustle and bustle around. But yeah, I mean, we could do with a few here, couldn't we?
Could do with a few now.
Yeah. Right. I mean, you know, obviously 21 years, you've come through, you've seen some amazing changes. I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail because we're going to talk about this a lot more in part 2, but where did the auction house come from? I mean, was it a case of like you came all the way over and thought, you know what, I love doing that back home, I've got to have a crack?
No. What happened, in England, I had the car auction.
Okay.
And alongside that, on a Tuesday night, we had a general auction, which is household effects, a few antiques, just a general auction. And we did that up until this year. My son said, when he sold, they signed him up, last year. And they said, hey, you mustn't be an auctioneer anymore.
Right, yeah.
So you're gone, like. So that was closed. They didn't want it. They closed it. That was it. Wilson's. So I always had the auction. But when I came here, I had the hotel. And that was full time, right? In Rayong. 10 years. And then we had an airstrip on the side of it. And a bloke flew in an aeroplane one morning for breakfast. So I used to fly in. I used to watch them in case they crashed.
Tossing up the eggs and the sausages. Here, mate, have a takeaway.
You'd hear them buzz, you'd see them come, like, and then you'd think, well, I'll stand up now and I'll watch them land. And there was one in particular, he was a Dutchman. And I'll show you a picture after I got in there of the Dutchman. And one day, I heard him buzz. I thought, oh, Ed, you'll be in a minute. Tell the chef, get his breakfast on, you know, and crash. So he must have misjudged it, landed too hard, and the wheel was on the end of a single spring, right? And he snapped the one side. She came down, and thank goodness it didn't touch the wing on the floor at 60 mile an hour because he would have spun round the bloody circle.
Around.
So Eddie's coming up the runway like this. You know, so he gets out. I said, "You all right, boyo?" He said, "You know, misjudged that one." Lovely guy. And,
brilliant.
He'd take me shopping down to Tesco. He'd fly me from Doc Rai to the air park here.
Yeah.
Right. Go down to Tesco, and then he'd take me back again.
That's brilliant, isn't it? I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, when you left Wales behind and you thought to yourself, do you know what? I want to come over. I mean, there's one thing coming here on holiday, but you came here to live. I mean, what went through your mind to make that decision?
I don't know. When I finished then at the hotel, when we sold it, I thought, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Right, there was no auctions in Pattaya at all. There was no auctions in Thailand. There still aren't many. And that's when I started the auction here, down on the number 36.
Yeah.
And then I moved to up here, Chairbrook, and then they sold that under my nose. I've been there 10 years. And then I found this, and we're here now. I think this is, it's small, it's nice, it's cheap, and it's on the side of the main road, so we're okay. But that's how I started, was the car auction, general auction, a gap then in Thailand with the hotel for 10 years, and then came back here and did it again.
I mean, when you came over, I mean, you mentioned about your son. I mean, how old was your son when you came out here?
He's 20 something.
He was 20 something then. So did he say to your dad, what on earth are you doing?
Yeah.
And has he been out?
When I took my first girlfriend home, he said, well, fair play to you, Dad. Fair play to you.
Can't argue about that, can you really?
Like my wife now is younger than my son by about 15 years.
Yeah. I mean, has your son been out here?
Oh, lots.
Does he?
He can't come now. We got awful trouble. He was here in January 2019.
Yeah.
220. So that's the last time anybody went anywhere.
So, you know, your son's obviously getting older now, and he's just had to, well, not just,
well, he's taken the auction to greater heights than when I was involved in it, and of course he sold it, but he retained the freehold on a lot of the ground there. He's got trading estates, he's bought pubs, he's got a van hire business. He's a millionaire.
Yeah, fair play.
Making a lot of money.
So he doesn't fancy you standing on the old lectern over there giving it.
He misses it.
Does he?
He misses it.
Does he? Is it like a busman's holiday?
You, Dad. He watches every sale we do here online because we got bid online.
Yeah.
So he watches every sale.
And did you ever feel like saying, "Come on, son, get out here, get over there, get up there, get your hammer and have a crack"?
About 4 years ago, he fell off a motorbike and he smashed himself up and he couldn't work.
Right.
And I had to go back at like an hour's notice and do the car auction for him.
Oh, right.
And I'm not saying I was good, I was bloody good, right?
I mean, I'm thinking you're going to say you're going to go back and see him because he's in hospital, not do the auction.
And he's on the phone to the office. How many has he done? How many has he done? Right? So I go and see him after. I said, I've done 50 cars tonight. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I. Yeah.
Did you? And is there like that rivalry, like father and son rivalry when it comes to doing it?
I'm better than him.
See, if you're watching, your old man says he's done you. You know what I mean? He says he's done you. I mean, it's great that you've made that decision to come out, because you've not just come out here and, you know, for a few years. You've been here 21 years. You've got an incredibly good name here. You know, everyone knows John at Collingbourne Auctions. You've got a great. How do you relax? What do you do to relax? Because we mentioned that when we sat in your office before camera, you're not really a spring chicken anymore, are you?
Thank you, Trevor.
Well, I thought you were younger than me until you told me. I mean, I can't believe it, to be fair. But
78.
Yeah, 78. I mean, you don't look 78.
Oh, I do.
Well, you might feel it.
I feel it.
I mean, how do you relax? What do you do?
I just have antiques. My house is rammed with antiques. I've got about a eye and a half of garden, and that's like a national park. So, you know, all I miss are my old cars.
Right.
We have an XK120 in Wales, which is the family car, and Yadra and I, my wife, we drive it round when I'm home.
Nice.
And, you know, I miss things like that. Fairground organs, steam engines and stuff like that. We go home every year, or did, until the pandemic, to the Great Dorset Steam Fair. We go there.
I've been to that, yeah.
So they had the 50th anniversary last year, I think it was, and I've been going for about 30 years of that.
Yeah, because that's in Blandford, isn't it?
Blandford
yeah, I
Forum,
remember. Yeah, I've been there before. It's a brilliant festival.
Yeah, it's 1,000 acres of pure nostalgia.
Yeah, because it's right on the top of that hill, isn't it? You go to the very top. You can look down. You can see that's where you sleep. That's where you get drunk. That's where you think you're living, but you're not. You're over in that field, and I mean, it's fantastic. I don't know if you guys have been to the Great Dorset Steam Fair. If you have, honestly, you'll know what John and I are referring to. It really is an incredible thing, isn't it?
We snuck underneath a tent. They had the shut taps here at 12 o'clock.
Right.
And we found this army tent in amongst all the army vehicles, because there's 100 army vehicles there, all antique. And we got underneath them, and there's all straw bales inside. The guy said, "What do you want?" I said, "Want some cider?" "Oh, all right, cider." Right, so cider. I couldn't go home. I had to sleep in the tent. Didn't know where it was.
Well, they have that. What do you call that cider? It's like hot.
Hot, yeah. The double deckers on the double decker.
Yeah, my lord, I've lost a couple of hours on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like rocket fuel. I mean, they think Lau Cow out here is pretty dodgy. You want to have some of that hot cider. It's just, and it's in like in a big swimming pool.
That's right.
And they just scoop it up. There you go. It's a quid. Oh, thanks.
Right.
Bosh that, Danny. I'll have another one. You know, 5 later, and like, I'll have another one, please. Brilliant, brilliant. I mean, what we're going to do in part 2 is I do want to talk to you about the auction, about, you know, the difference in working here to working back in Wales, and obviously, you know, the systems in place. I also want to know about some of the weird and wonderful things I'm sure you've had to sell in the years where people have gone, "Can I put that in the auction?" You're thinking, "Oh my, but don't spill the beans right now. We'll keep that for part 2. But it's been brilliant. I've loved talking to you, John. It really has been absolutely awesome. Guys, if you want to get in touch with John and you want to find out a bit more about Collingbourne auctions, and also in part 2, he's a bit of a dark horse because we're not just at the auction. He's got a bar around the corner. So I mean,
restaurant.
Sorry, he's got a restaurant. I mean, he's got a restaurant stroke bar around the corner. So, and do people dress with their silk ties in there, or is that
Guess
shorts
what,
and
Trevor? It's full of antiques.
He showed me his phone, right? Honestly, I said to John, I said, "Do you ever get people who come in like and have a little bit of an antique? You think, oh, I like that." He got his phone out. He's going, "Yeah, look, he's got hundreds in there. It's incredible." So, but listen, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, John. Part 2 will be out on Friday.
Coming, see?
No, you're very welcome. See, well, you probably don't get to see many people right now. It'd be so quiet. All right, so part 2 will be out on Friday. Part 2, we are going to talk about the auction, about John's restaurant and bar, which is down here in Jomtien. And we're going to talk about some of the weird, I mean, he's got some incredible things, it really is. But John, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, Boyo.
Been a pleasure. So, for those of you that don't know what Boyo means, that's Welsh for cheers, mate. All right, guys, that's it from us today here on Buzzing Pattaya. Thank you so much for watching. As always, guys, please remember hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we bring out a new video. Check out our members area. More and more members are joining each and every day. It's fantastic. And join our Telegram and our Discord groups. Now, that's something I haven't been saying ever before, was Discord. That's something new that I'll put a link in below. Have a look. It's pretty special, got to be honest with you. All right, guys, that's it from us. Thank you very much for watching. And please, wherever you are in the world, stay safe.